Why we gather. Across every culture, in every age, human beings have done one thing without being taught how to do it. They've gathered. They've gathered around fires, around tables, around stories, around songs, also around the one uncle who insists on retelling the same story every single year, and somehow, mysteriously, we still let him. Now, long before there were temples, there was the circle. And long before there were scriptures, there was the shared meal. Something in us has always known that the sacred does not only happen in silence, it happens in the passing of bread, in the sound of laughter carrying across a room. In the moment someone says, I feel that too. Now, we have built a civilization that prizes independence, self made, self sufficient, self contained, which is very impressive on paper. However, it is considerably lonelier in practice. Somewhere along the way, we started to believe that needing each other was a weakness to outgrow rather than part of the sacred design we were born into. Now let that land, hear that again. No cell in your body survives alone. No tree in the forest thrives alone. Even the stars in the skies we call solitary are held in place by the magnetism of every other star around them. You were never meant to do this alone either. Now look closer at what actually happens when people gather with an open heart. Walls come down that arguments could never take down. Loneliness loosens its grip, if only for an afternoon. Someone remembers how to laugh the way they laughed before life became so serious. This is not small. This is not just a gathering. We gather. We do not gather here to perform who we are. We do not gather here to be impressive. We gather because something in us softens when we are finally among people who do not require us to explain ourselves. Now, joy shared in community is not frivolous. Joy shared in community is evidence, evidence that we are still capable of trusting one another, evidence that connection is not a relic of some easier past, but a doorway still standing open right now in this room. So why do we gather? Not merely for the occasion, though the occasion is welcome, not even for the uncle and his story, though by now we may have no choice. We gather because remembering is easier together than it is alone, because the parts of yourself you set down out in the world are allowed to return here. Because a room full of like-minded people quietly becoming more themselves is one of the most powerful forces on this earth. Community is not a nice addition to the spiritual path. Community is the first temple. So today, notice something. Notice the ordinary miracle of like-minded people choosing freely to be in the same room. You did not come here by accident. It is the path remembering itself through us.